Good morning. It is June the 30th in the awesome year of 2020, and today we will mostly be sailing to French Polynesia. Are you ready?
We are as ready as we're going to be. Let's go to the Pacific.
How are you feeling this morning, Sam?
Yeah, apprehensive. It'll probably be fine. It's a big thing.
How are you feeling, Dodgy?
I'm excited.
Good.
I think it's a massive thing we're doing, but we're all sorted. We couldn't be any more prepared if we stayed another week, so let's get on it. We're leaving in a little flotilla, which is beautiful. I think that's a good spirit lift. And as you say, 1 mile at a time, and we shall be there. So aiming north of the Galapagos at the minute, but we'll see what the wind does. And job's a good one. Looking forward to it.
How are you feeling, Evan?
Hungry.
Hungry.
Hello.
Hello, on your early boat.
Rolly boat.
So now, Des,
Yes.
that decision we made about not going back to the Caribbean, not getting on a lovely sailing straight into the wind full 7-4. No,
No.
747.
Yeah.
How do you feel about our decision now?
For the last 2 days, I think it's a particularly poor decision, frankly. This, as you can see, I've got my full wet weather togs on. It's quite unpleasant, and we've done almost... Oh,
Ow.
sorry. Almost no distance in the last 36 hours, really. Which matches most other people's experience of crossing the Pacific at this time. Yeah, so I'm thinking it's a rubbish idea. I'm desperately trying to get us down out of this rain belt and somewhere where we think the current might start picking up and pushing us west. But it's not really working. Winds all over the shop, waves are all over the shop, rains. That's a worry.
What happened then?
Engine's dying. Right.
And that was the start of our engine problems that saw Des with his head in the engine for the whole rest of the trip.
What we need to do then is, if I see if we can blow that out.
Show me what you just pulled out.
A little mat of black diesel pubes.
Oh, that's gorgeous, Des. Thanks for that.
Sorry.
Oh.
Ha!
Holy moly.
Funky. Right.
No wonder no fuel was getting through.
Explain why the engine's not running.
Good job.
Okay, we've had trouble with the engine. It cut out We're in the middle of a really horrible squall. And I think you might have been on video. We were having a lovely chat and then the engine stopped. We both kind of looked at each other and then the video cut. So since then we've discovered that the fuel lines were completely blocked with muck. So we thought that was a fix. Then it stopped working again the day after and we checked again and we found one of the parts of the filter was blocked, not the filter itself, but there's a separator stage which is meant to take water out. That was completely clogged up with filth and muck, so we cleaned that and we thought we'd fixed it. And then last night we needed the engine because the battery was flat. We turned it on and it ran for all of 5 seconds before it cut out. It was its worst ever performance. So today again we've taken it to bits, cleaned stuff, sorted the filter out, and the problem there, I think, is to do with insulation. When I cleared the fuel lines the first time round, I undid a zip tie which was holding the fuel line ever so slightly above the filter. I undid that so I could get the fuel line cleaned. So I've fixed that, done a quick bit of plumbing with a couple of zip ties, pumped it back up and it started perfectly. So mind you, it starts the third time it started perfectly. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. But the sun's come out, it's looking better than it's done for a long while, frankly. So it's all good.
With the weather calming down a bit, we heaved to in the middle of the Pacific to make some water and to do some laundry. With the waves washing over the deck constantly for the past few days, we discovered a few leaks from the hatches. The boys' beds were wet and we needed to seal the hatches and wash the salty bedding. Bit rubbish this, but we got a break from beating into the waves hundreds of miles from land. Pretty awesome.
The journey so far has been interesting, certainly. We've for the first 5 days we didn't go in a straight line in the correct direction, and on one day we did minus 11 miles of distance towards our destination. But it's going better now. But hopefully when we get past Galapagos, we'll get a current with us, and the wind will go from beam on from the stern, and everything will be much better. And maybe we won't get waves coming over the front and soaking my bedroom, which would be brilliant.
So what problems have we had so far?
The engine has broken
3 times.
3 times. Lots of hatches are leaking.
Yes.
Which we fixed with duct tape and silicone seal. But then just the general uncomfortableness makes
one problem of having no engine for 3 days and no sunshine
yes. No electricity
is that the battery's running low and we've got to turn the fridge and the freezer off again. And what else have we done, Daddy?
We've turned the autopilot off. So the batteries were that low that it could no longer power the autopilot. So Floss and myself spent 12 hours off the night shift hand steering, which is really hard work. It doesn't sound like it should be hard work. All you have to do is just stand up and point the boat in the right direction. But in actual fact, it really is. The waves were knocking the boat all over the place, so it's not just it's not like you sat on the motorway. You can just sit there and look out the window and stuff. It's a constant keeping the compass, look at the wind, check what the waves are doing, and you're always adjusting the boat. It's exhausting. But now the engine's started, that's going to be charging the batteries, so we've turned Susan back on, and she's steering and not complaining about it, frankly.
She's whacking.
There she goes. It's amazing. I've been complaining all night.
And she's not complaining.
Not had a word out of her, bless her. Just sits there and gets on with it.
But so we look like that now. How's that, Sam?
majestic.
Beautiful.
It's majestic.
That's what it does. I love it when it does that kind of, the front bit just sticks up, caught by the wind.
Is it looking good?
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Big hair.
Big hair, sleepy eyes.
Dead
good.
glam.
Dead
Living on
glam.
a boat.
It certainly is. One wash, 8 days.
More than enough.
More than enough.
That's all you're going to get for the next 8 days.
We were joined on our passage by some red-footed boobies. This one we named Gregory, because everything has to have a name on our boat. He managed to balance there all night pretty much, with his head under his wing. What a dude.
If you cover their heads up with like your hand, the body looks like a duck. Unless they're flying, and then it looks like
You cover up the head with your hand, the body looks like a duck. Hang on. I'm not sure. Look at that though. Amazing blue beak.
They're very red feet.
So this is a red-footed booby, the only type that can perch. Did you know that? So tell me your thoughts about our first week. Well, you'll have to speak up.
Okay, I've not loved it, I must admit. The Caribbean, I love the Caribbean. I don't understand why we left. This is awful. It reminds me a bit of sailing around the UK. The waves, the constant chop, the variable wind, the nasty currents. I'm sure it will get better, and everyone said that this first week is horrible, but I just wasn't prepared for the amount of horrible that you have to deal with. We've really struggled to make any progress at all, and in fact yesterday we did minus 11 miles. After a full day of sailing and hard work, we were 11 miles further away from Polynesia than when we started. Doesn't make you feel good, frankly. But overnight we made quite good progress south, and now we're beating in west. So it will come good. It's just I'm impatient and I'm not enjoying it. It's hard work and I'm tired. I want some nice, easy, calm sailing, not fighting to stand up. There, that's my first week.
Good morning. It's day 10 of our Pacific crossing. 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm just at the end of my night watch. I got up at 4, and due to the fact that there's no blooming sun and our engine is broken, we're having to hand steer for the night because there's not enough power to keep the autopilot going for the day. So I've just done 4 or 5 hours of hand steering, which has been quite unpleasant, I have to say. It's cold. I'm having to be properly wrapped up like this, with my hood up and my proper shoes. And look, shoes, shocking. So I'm having one of those what the hell are we doing moments. What the hell are we doing in the middle of the Pacific in July? What are we doing? What the hell are we doing? Why didn't we just go home? There you go, that's because I'm tired. And I think we've still got another month to go. So this is going to be a long trip, but there you go. Ask me again in a couple of hours when I've had some sleep, and I might think differently. Floss here. Congratulations on getting this far in what's turned out to be a fairly depressing video so far. This is the first video we've made, you might be able to tell. Well, I hope you can tell if you get any further than video 1. It was always going to be a bit of a tricky first week with the current and the wind against us, and the engine problems we had and the wet beds. They didn't help. At one point we drifted backwards for hours on end in a 3-knot current with 0 wind, completely unable to do anything at all, back towards Panama and straight towards the only island for 100 miles. Brilliant. The engine problems continued to keep us in pretty high stress, but it all gets happier in the next video, I promise. Keep on watching.
So how far away is he?
4 and a bit miles.
4 and a bit miles. Zach to Mundo.
How's the fishing boat?
tendency I'll keep an eye on him.
Day 12 of our Pacific crossing on Fat Susan. It's been pretty grim so far, and today is the first time we've seen land for ages. So we're hoping this signifies the end of the rubbish part of the trip and the start of the good part of the trip. So it's taken 12 days to get to that over there, which is Isla Darwin, which is the most northern island of the Galapagos Islands. How exciting! SV Bacchus are over there somewhere. We're going to try and meet up with them at the top of the island, and we're going to heave to a little bit and see if we can see any awesome wildlife. So here we are. This is Isla Darwin, and we have heave-hoed, as we call it on Fat Susan, next to SV Bacchus. We left Panama at the same time. We've gone completely, totally different routes. They went south, we went north. We've had engine problems. They've not used their engine much at all. Completely different routes, and we have arrived here 12 days later at exactly the same time. How weird is that, Des?
Unbelievable. Just unbelievable, frankly. It looked like it was possible yesterday, but these things never really work out. And yet here they are. They appeared through the mist at about 8 o'clock. And it's just amazing. The sun has now turned up, which we've not seen for days. So it's all lovely.
It is. Bloody lovely, isn't it?
Bloody lovely. They're going to go and try and catch some more fish.
Yep.
We're not.
We're not. Well, we do have some possible fishing gear that we could drop over the side, but the chances of catching anything, I think, are very slim. And we have no bait, because I just chucked all the squid in the water that were on the deck.
I think pancakes is a better option.
Pancakes! Oh, we could do pancakes, Sam. Pineapple? What about pancakes?
Oh, there's the other island.
Oh, yeah! Look!
Oh, good spot, Sammy.
Just coming out of the... Wow. Might not be able to see it on camera, but Wolf. This is Wolf and Darwin, the two most northern islands, and Wolf is just poking out past that arch, which is pretty epic. We did a mid-ocean goodie bag swap with Danny and Asher from SV Bacchus. They've got a proper YouTube channel, you should go and have a look. It's called Sailing Bacchus Home. And you'll find us on it as well in a few of the episodes, so go and have a look. Anyway, it's lots and lots of fun, and we got goodies from them and they got goodies from us.
Go, Sammy!
Hey, nicely done.
Go, chuck it in, Evan, chuck!
Well done.
Oh, coming round.
Where's the next, guys? Where's the next?
Look at Eva.
Make it order!
That was close.
Good work, guys. Thank you.
Thank you! Wow, that's bloody spoil.
Yeah, isn't it?
Wait, we need to take the here, eh?
Yeah!
That was lots of fun, wasn't it? We got goodies from Bacchus, and Bacchus got goodies from us, and we nearly crashed. Wow, that's our first Fat Susan seal. Darwin. Goodbye, Glacus. Hello, Nick Heaver.
No, so we
Nick
haven't been here for
Heaver.
long.
Nick, the Marquesas.
But I really like it here.
What'd you say?
I like it here.
You like it here?
Yeah.
We saw a seal.
Yeah.
Yay! Woo. Our first Fat Susan seal. Yay! Are you into that?
That was just a fantastic way to spend the morning. We've been here way longer than I thought we would, but we've had a lovely time, had a lovely bit of breakfast. It's brilliant to see the Bacchus guys. Exchanged gifts and popped in to see an island. I mean, what more can you want? Sun's out, beautiful. So we're heading off northwest. We need to get up to 2 degrees north, find that current to take us over to the west. Next stop, French Polynesia.
Next land we will see.
Yeah. It's 2,956 miles away.
2,956.
Approximately 2 Atlantic crossings.
For less than 3,000.
Yes, less than 3,000. So that's good. And we should go pretty quickly once we get this current. This is the racetrack bit, hopefully.
Cool.
See how it goes.
So that was the end of our first 12 days of our Pacific crossing, and weren't they lovely? Apologies for being a little bit whingy on the on the video, but that's exactly how we felt. We weren't the worst treated by Neptune at all. One of our friends snapped their boom and also had similar problems with their engine to us. Other people had lots of things break. One catamaran whom we didn't know was hit by a whale and sunk a month after we finished our journey, so I think we did very well, really. Other people did it single-handed. There were several people who did this journey single-handed, and one person we know even did this particular route here single-handed without an autopilot. He's a star. We couldn't cope doing it at all, so there you go. So this is our route. This has got Bacchus on it as well. Bacchus is the dark green, we are the light green.
Have you seen Free Guy?
We came through the Panama Canal here together. We stayed at Shelter Bay for our lockdown. That's where we were at the time. They were in Curacao. Oop. Over here, that's where they were locked down. If you watch their YouTube videos, Sailing Bacchus Home, you'll see them locked down in Curacao. But Fat Susan was in Shelter Bay Marina, so we came through the canal together. We ended up meeting up down here in the Perlas Islands, and that's where we left for our Pacific crossing. Now this bit here is where we took different routes, even though we still ended up 12 days later in exactly the same place. So Fat Susan tried to go this way. So there's a gyre here. This is a circular current, and there's also currents that come up this way, and all the wind also goes that way towards Panama. So it's not the best time of year to be travelling in the Gulf of Panama. So we tried to go this way around the gyre, which didn't really work because our engine broke, and there was very little wind at some points, and also you had to motor into the current just to move at a couple of knots. There was one point where we were going into a 3-knot current at a knot and a half, and that was after the engine had broken, so it was going to be very, very slow. There was also a point where we were just here, where we were travelling backwards, just drifting, sideways actually at the time, in a 3-knot current. We were doing 3.5 knots in the wrong direction for several hours overnight before the wind picked back up again, and we were heading directly towards a load of fishing boats who wouldn't answer us on the radio, so we couldn't warn them, and also towards the only island, which is down here. For hundreds of miles, but the wind picked up at midnight and we headed up back that way, and eventually we met up with Bacchus here. So that's the first 12 days of our crossing. Keep watching if you're feeling brave. And we'll try not to be too whingy, although I've already made the next 2 ones and they are quite whingy, so brace yourselves.